Hello, everybody. I'm experiencing technical difficulties. Please bear with me. Well, good grief. It looks like I won't be able to change the orientation on this for some reason. And I hate this orientation. All right, give me 1 second. We'll fix it in post. Well, this is pretty stupid. Okay, well, here we go. Welcome, everybody, to That Random Model. I had this sitting up here drawing something the kids and I did at library a couple days ago. They had some kind of craft thing, and it was kind of nice. So I just figured I'd show it since it was sitting right there. But you didn't come here for poetry class and from the library. You came here for the Giotto Caspita. Let me see if I can get a little bit more. At the very least. Good grief. All right, we'll try it like this. Okay, so this is the Giotto Caspita from Fujimi. Really, really nice box art right here. Again, sorry for the orientation. We'll have that fixed next time. So, inside the box, this is a 1/24th scale from Fujimi. This is, again, my favorite model companies. They don't have the best detail, but they're pretty good. Looking at the model page, really? Model page? Instructions. Sorry about that. Instructions. We've got the build quality. We'll go over some pieces a little later. Now, the Giotto Caspita is an interesting card. Giotto was a company developed by, that was co-founded by the president of Dome Limited in Japan, which was a race car manufacturer, and the president of Wacoal, which is a women's lingerie and underwear manufacturer in Japan. Go figure. This is was in the instructions. This is what you can put tape over this and then cut out along the lines and make masks for the windows, both the inside and the outside. So you can have pretty comprehensive mask. You can paint the lines and all. Since we're looking at the glass, this is the, let me get this up. This is the canopy. You've got your front windshield, your side windows, and your top supports. Now, this is not supposed to be clear. You'll be painting it from the underside and probably on the overside, depending on what colors you want this to come through. There's your rear window, your separation between the cabin and the engine compartment, rear lights, marker lights, headlights, and then your headlight covers. They've got these kind of funky ghost images. Back to Giotto. The company was founded in part by Dome. Dome was a race car developer and designer of race cars. Their famous production car that was supposed to come out in the late 70s, early 80s was based on a Nissan, or at the time Datsun, 240Z. And it was a very interesting thing. It was a very wedged shape, and wedge at the time were all the rage. All the cool kids were doing wedges. Here's your interior tub. This car pioneered. This car was developed in the late 80s, early 90s, and it pioneered things like carbon fiber composite tubs, other exotic materials like that. Here's your engine tub, which you'll be able to see underneath the car in the back. But of course, the doors, the engine compartment do open. Here is your very angular dashboard, an odd shape. It is left-hand drive. There were two generations of this. Oddly enough, there was a Mark One and a Mark Two. This is a representation of the Mark One. You can tell the difference between these because the Mark One has these odd shaped headlights or headlight covers. The Mark Two has a more traditional roundish headlight cover, and the marker lights are a little bit higher up. The Mark Twos are a little bit lower. This also has active aero front, and the Mark II does not. The mirrors are another distinguishing factor. I'll get to those later. And the taillights on this, it is a horizontal line, and in the same location there are two round taillights or quad taillights. You've got two on each side. Now this right here is an active aero rear spoiler. Now on the Mark One, I don't know if it was functional, but on the Mark Two it was. And of course, this piece right here is just for structure and shipping. You will remove this and put the canopy glass over it, and then the lines on the canopy glass that you'll be painting over will make it look like there's structure there. But as this is not part of the finished kit, I like these intakes right there on the side. Now, on the engine on this, on the Mark One, was provided by the Subaru. It was an F1 unit. That was a V12. Well, there's nothing much to really say here. You've got these odd-looking rims right here that look like something off of a toy car, and you've got this this wire right here, which you can use to tub the engine, provide wiring for the engine. I don't know, I said tub. And get to the rest of the kit. Now, like I said, there were differences between the Mark One and the Mark Two. The Mark One used a Subaru engine. The Subaru was a flat V12. It is called a flat V12, even though Subaru is known for boxer engines. It is called a flat V12 because a flat V has pairs of crank pins, whereas a true boxer engine has separate crank pins for each cylinder. So this is a little different right there. You have your air channels underneath for airflow. This was pretty revolutionary back then for a car of any kind, especially a production car. Steering wheel, you got your various suspension components, your intakes, coolers, pedals, mirrors. These mirrors we'll get to in a second. Here is your headlight unit. Now these mirrors right here, if you look at them very closely. Whoa, sorry about that. That's not going to work. If you look at these mirrors very closely, they look, for all intents and purposes, like normal mirrors. On the prototype, the Mark One, they kind of stick up, just like, from what I understand, they retract into the car. So you might see, if you Google it, you might see the mirror sticking up at various angles, but it's kind of an odd shape. Please excuse the crude reference right there, if anybody thought that was crude. But yeah, this is a pretty neat kit. Like I said, Jiotto was developed from, it was created from two different companies. One that had a lot to do with cars and one not so much. The name Caspita actually comes from an Italian phrase meaning good heavens, which reminds me of the Lamborghini Countach. The Lamborghini Countach was a variation of a different word. They usually would call their cars after bullfighter, famous bulls from bullfighting, because Mauricio Lamborghini was a bullfighting aficionado. But their cars were usually named after bulls. But Countach is actually a Italian expression that some people would say "good Lord," but basically it literally translates to a wolf whistle. So, a little car trivia for you there. But Caspita is Italian for good heavens. So here is that again. The mirrors, the wing mirrors look traditional on this kit. That is not a representation of it. Your decals, if you look real closely, you've got your powered by Subaru decal right here. You've got your Caspita logo right, or name right there, as well as some other markings, as the Giotto logo that goes right there, etc. Really interesting kit, very simple. There's only about probably about 60 pieces or so on here. Very simple curbside kit. Curbside meaning that no doors and hood does not open. Whatever you can see from the outside looking in is basically like you'd see on the curbside of a city. You would see on these engines, and here it shows the wiring so that you can make the car look a little bit more detailed with the pieces that come in here. You just want to paint it the way you'd want to. Now we're going to get to numbers. The Mark I, they made a total of, from what I can tell, 1. The Mark II, they made a total of maybe 1. There's one that was yellowish, kind of like a pale yellow. And then I was doing some more research and I found a white one. There are more surviving members of the Rolling Stones than there are cars of the Caspita. I give up. Now, here are your decals. They're still sealed in their plastic, so even though this is a pretty old kit, this kit is at least 20, 25 years old. You still have some decals that look pretty nice. This is your for your wing, your dealer plate, instruments, symbols. These orange decals go. They're your covers for your fuel. And this is the color that the Mark I came in. It was this bluish silver with a red interior, and it's a pretty nice looking car. Now, if you want a really good, now I do plan on building this. I am not doing it this color. Thinking about doing something a little similar, but I'm not going to do it this color. Probably doing if it went into production, what kind of colors might you see? So still trying to hammer down what I want. I kind of want it maybe a pastel blue, something like that, or maybe a more of a metallic color. I don't know. But if you want a really good build on this, recently within the past month, Scale Auto Garage, and there's a link down below in the description, has a build of this car, and he makes it this color with the seats and everything. It's a very good representation of this car, and I'm saying this is one of his best builds. This is a really good video, a really good build, and the paint job on it looks fantastic. He posted a lot of pictures on his Instagram page, and I'll tell you, I never got tired of looking at any of them, no matter how many he posted, and he posted a lot. Anyway, that's about all I got for you tonight. Like I said, there's only about 2 of these in existence. Dome has one on display in their museum, along with the Dome Zero, which is their wedge-shaped car from 12 years earlier than this. Again, that one also did not enter into production, even though it was intended to do. That car actually raced. The Dome Zero actually did race in different forms. I don't remember if they won any races, but they did try to race. Oh, the V12 in the Subaru plant, it actually was F1 derived. So there's a lot of people who speculate that this car, if it made production, would have been Japan's first supercar. I mean, this is about the time right before the Super Mark IV came out. This is about the time that the 300ZX went to the twin turbo version with the really pretty smooth lines. This is the time when the Mitsubishi 3000 GT was coming out with the VR4 version, actually the very first 3000 GT, and it was all these cars were fantastic. The third generation RX-7, these cars were really hitting the market in a very powerful way. Then the Japanese economic bubble burst, and all of these cars that were slated for production, there's a lot of stories like this one that just never materialized because these cars just these cars couldn't be made under the economic pressures at the time. So it's a real sad to know that the Mark II actually has a different engine. It's called a Judd V10. Even though it's a smaller engine, it actually has more horsepower. This one was, I think, rated at 450 horsepower. The Judd was 60 more at 510. It was considered considerably faster. And this one with the V12 would have been, I believe they said about 4.3 seconds from 0 to 60. Now that sounds pretty fast, and at the time it was pretty fast. There's not a lot of detail out there on this. There's a few videos of the driving in tests and being displayed, but a lot of them aren't narrated. And the ones that are narrated, I'm kind of sketchy on the details. I've heard that this was a possible prototype for the McLaren F1. I don't believe that. There's no other reference that I can find on that, even though this is a very similar shape. This is a very similar arrangement. There's a lot of crucial details, like the fact that there's a two side by side seating and not the 3+ seating that the McLaren has. The doors are a little different. They're not the butterflies. These are gull wings, and the active arrow that I pointed out. Now I haven't seen a Mark One with the active arrow engaged, but the Mark II I have seen it with the it raised, and it only goes up and down. And I think does that for stability. I don't think it actually does that for braking like the Mitsubishi. There was a prototype at the time that actually had air brakes and spoilers that would go up and down to help it brake and actually corner. Um, this one doesn't deploy for braking. It only deploys for downforce. So it's still in the early 90s that was groundbreaking. Wow. In the early 90s that was still groundbreaking, cutting edge design. So not to throw shade in that direction. That was still a pretty interesting move. Like I said, with the composite materials, this was generations ahead of what was out there at the time. I mean, you look at Corollas and Ford. What was the car at the time? It wasn't the Focus. It was the Escort. Ford Escort at the time. The Toyota Corolla. These were all crude in comparison to something like this. So very forward, very advanced car of its time, and it's a shame that it didn't have more of a backing behind it to come to market. It What would this have been like if Toyota had been calling it and on its development? At the time, they were coming to market with the Lexus. Could this have been a Lexus model? This looks a lot like, someone recently told me this looks like a Honda NSX. This would have beat this would have beat the Honda NSX, I believe, by a year or two, had it come out on time. Things like that, and if Honda had been developing this car, how would it have come to market? Would it have kept the V12? Would it have had a different power plant? They used at the time VTEC was brand new. Now they're actually going away from VTEC because turbo is their solution now for increased power and performance and economy. So it's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat car. I do again apologize. My gosh, I apologize so much for the orientation on this. Normally, my videos aren't this wonky, and the last few weeks we've had to deal with a lot of storms. There's been power outages. There's been tornadoes in the area. We don't know tornadoes here, but there's, I guess Universal and Warner were really trying to promote the new movie Twisters. So we had tornadoes in the area, and we had power outages. We had a lot of things going on. So I do apologize for the delay. Again, please check out Scale Auto Garage's build on this. I will be doing a build on this again. I won't be doing it like this. One other thing I want to point out, I forgot to say this. This was the other thing I wanted to point out, is in the interior, I did notice something that no one else caught on the research. But another big difference between the Mark I and the Mark II is when the thickness between the outer shell and the interior. You can see the line right here. This has been the interior of the cabin. All that comes up, of course. The thickness on this door is quite a bit more than Mark II. The Mark II doesn't have this liner that comes out this far. It actually goes in just a little bit. So that was a big difference that I happened to see that I didn't see anybody call out. And of course, mirrors are more traditional looking, even more so than these. They're kind of like look more like a traditional race wing mirrors that pop up on their own. So anyway, so you have these. You have those things, and there you are. That's the Jiotto Caspita. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry about the orientation on this. Thank you so much for showing up. Please leave a comment in the description, or in the description. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what color that you'd paint this. What would you go with? Would you go with British Racing Green? Would you go with stripes? I really like how much this looks kind of like a Pagani Huayra. So I kind of wanted to go with something like that. So I don't know. I really like the shape of this. I really like the design. So I've got a few of these. So I'm probably going to do a couple different versions. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you all for showing up, and I see Scale Auto Garages in the comments. Thank you so much for showing up, for watching, and for your videos as well. I did not want to bring this out too close to your video. I'd actually thought I was going to delay it. I was going to release it about the same time his came up, and I didn't really realize that that he had come out with his already. So lime, we've got a suggestion for a lime green. I like that. I know exactly what color you're talking about. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody have a very good day, and enjoy the model, enjoy the crafting, enjoy all of it. Take care.